What's going on, YouTube? This your boy Sip, and this is the No Niche Network. And today we're going to be talking about my favorite TV show, Martin. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about the show, but something that kind of stood out to me the other day that I thought about. And I said, if Martin's not talking about the Pistons or something to that nature, you forget that this TV show is pretty much based out of Detroit. I don't get a feel that they're like Detroiters. Like it's just something you don't think about. But not to take anything away from the show, because I definitely love the show. Probably my favorite TV show of all time. But, did the Martin show truly represent Detroit? Now, Martin Lawrence was one of the most talented guys at that time. I mean, he played, I think, 9 characters, not including himself. You got Shanae Jenkins, Edna, which is Mama Payne. He played Jerome. He played Old Otis, Roscoe, Dragonfly Jones, Bob from marketing, King Beef, which was not seen too often, but he did, that was a character, and then Elroy Preston. So Martin is one of the most talented guys, in that era, him and Eddie Murphy. But he also had an incredible cast as well. You had, Cole, played by Carl Payne. Tommy is, Thomas McKell Fordman. He rest in peace. You got Tashina Arnold as Pam, and you got Tisha Campbell as Gina. And all these characters were amazing. I mean, they contributed. No character felt like it could be cut out. I mean, it was truly a perfect storm of characters, and even you got your side characters. Like obviously the Bruh Man and Hustle Man and Miss Jerry, and just all these characters. Everybody that was associated with that show. Stan, the white guy that was at the radio station. All these people played an important role to this show. But back to the topic at hand, when you think about it, just none of this makes me think about Detroit and what I know about Detroit. It just doesn't give me that Detroit vibe. And honestly, it was so great it didn't have to. But I just thought that was something glaring to point out. But I'm actually gonna play a clip of actual real Detroiter speaking on him being raised in Detroit, and his upbringing, and comparing it to the show, and what are some of the things that are realistic and what are some of the things that are not. So we're definitely going to tap into that, and hopefully everybody gets something out of it that they didn't think about before, and we can have a good time with this video. But again, I just want to reiterate that this definitely my all-time favorite show. So many memories from this show. I wanted to, in some form or fashion, kind of mirror. I would have loved for we all watch things and we want to mirror those things into our life. But one thing for sure, I know there are some negatives to the show that people would like to bring out, whether it be colorism, this, or Martin was acting like a buffoon and this. But I mean, to be honest, those things were there. I can't say they weren't, but this is still, the greatness still overrides a lot of that. Like even him putting on the dress and all that. Yeah, I get it. I'm pretty sure. Probably when he looks back at a lot of things in his career, he probably thinks that he probably went too far, but overall, it still was greatness. I don't care what anybody says. It was greatness. It was hilarious. And overall, I loved the show. But, not to beat a dead horse. We're gonna get over to this clip, and we're gonna let my man speak.
One of my favorite shows during the 1990s, and it's still one of my favorite shows in rerun. It's the Martin Show, and it was based out of Detroit, kind of a fictitious version of Detroit, especially Detroit. I know I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, Vinewood. You know what I'm saying, Bella Hubbard area. But anyway, you know, when I think about the Martin Show, it didn't. It never really said what side of town Martin was on, whether it was like East Side, West Side, and that was really more representative of Detroit because like people that lived on the East Side, they were they were at the East Side values and East Side thoughts, and and it was the same thing with the West Side. And the funny thing was that we West Siders thought the East Siders were dangerous, and I met some East Siders later on in life, and they felt the same way about people on the West Side, which is kind of crazy, but it's how we were. But like, I think about Martin and I think about the character, and it's funny, but I just think about like Martin's attitude that he had. That right there would have to stay inside the household with Gina, Tommy, and Pam, because him going out in the street there, it wasn't like Detroit was an easy win. So with the attitude that his character had, in my opinion, Martin would have been gotten into a lot of fights or been been would have been carried by six because like you knew your way around. You knew where to go, where not to go, who to monk with and who not to monk with. It's like, hey, I'm in the wrong place, wrong time. And the thing I always thought about Martin was that even though it was a sitcom, his character had no boundaries. You know, whereas I look at it like this. I know my limitations, so I'm not going to act a fool with Mike Tyson, whether he's 18 or 60. I still know that he can punch and knock my head off. And so that's kind of like one of the things. It's like, if you think about the Martin Show, everything really is kind of centered around that apartment complex. And even in the scene, I don't know a building that looks like that as far as like apartments in Detroit and where it's like located, that shot that they have at the beginning of the show. But it's like, um, they never say if they're going downtown. They never say that they're going to go do this. We're going here, we're going there. They never talk about any any places. So it's kind of Detroit in name only. So I guess if I was to be honest, I would say it's not representative, but I felt good when Biggie Smalls was on there and I happened to think about the song "Hypnotized" and talk about Detroiters. When I think about like Martin, like they all went to school in Detroit except for Gina because she was from Philadelphia. But I always think about like the things like the Pretty Ricky, that's what they call him, or the when Martin went back to Minnesota, saw his grade school teacher. And once again, Martin's still one of my favorite shows. I can watch it every day in reruns. But being a Detroiter, to be honest, I would have to say it's not totally indicative of Detroit, simply because it's kind of like Detroit in name only. They don't. They're not really doing like Detroit things. They just kind of like go out, go down, like go to Nipsey's. Um, they talk about stuff like they'll talk about it. When I think about it, the only sports teams. This is how Detroiters really are. Detroiters love their teams, and they love more than just the Pistons. They love the Tigers. They love the Lions. They love the Red Wings, right? And they're going to, and that's, when I think about it, in that 5 year span that the show was on the air, I saw Martin with like Pistons gear, but never saw anything beyond that. I don't recall like a lot of Lion stuff. I'd have to look at some episodes if I see any Lion stuff, but really didn't see anything that showed like anyone wearing like a Detroit Tigers baseball cap or baseball jersey, or talk about anything other than basketball. They had an appearance by Grant Hill on this. Not Grant Hill. He had a Grant Hill jersey. But the thing is that everybody worked in Detroit somewhere. Martin at a radio station. So Cole must have worked at the main airport, Metropolitan Airport. You know, there used to be Willow Run. I don't know if it's operational still. Then there's Detroit City on the east side. But um, since Cole once saw Thomas Hearns at the airport, and they would throw in Detroiters every now and then, like Tommy Hearns, the boxer. But they just, you know, you saw them riding down the street every now and then, and it's like some of the characters were like not over the top. Well, I tell you what was over the top, bruh man. In real life, Detroit, a bruh man coming to your house, he wouldn't have did it very too many times. Bruh man would have caught some fire. He caught some bullets. He really would. He probably been, instead of being called bruh man, they might have been calling him dead man, because that just wouldn't have happened. But you do have people, you know, in Detroit like Hustle Man, played by Tracy Morgan, and you have you know, a lot of things. Now they kind of represented Detroit in a New York kind of way. That's what it kind of seemed like. Detroit was actually New York, you know. But realistically, Detroit was more about housing, houses or homes, as opposed to tons of brownstones or whatnot. But I want to say, I can't think of my man's name. Uh, he appears on Martin sometimes, but he's like the creator, you know, creative show. But it's a good show. Just that I think not just me. You would you would ask the average Detroiter. They probably say, yeah, they love the Martin show just like I did. But then you'd ask them about like where did they really live? Where are they at? Nobody probably could tell you. Because I can't think where they could have been. I really couldn't. I couldn't tell you where they would have been possibly located. And then I was confused if Cole stayed in the same building as Martin, or they stayed in a different spot. Never knew. But mm, some people probably give me some flack because, you know, a lot of times people are just happy that their city is mentioned, and that that show is being based that way, right? But I don't tend to see uh, it as like them being like true, true Detroiters. It was an in name only kind of deal.
And there you have it, guys. Straight from a Detroiter's mouth. He definitely has some points about it. Was kind of the show was Detroit based in name only. You know, because yeah, Detroit is, you think about, I think about the housing. Anytime I've been there, I'm not thinking about like the brownstone makeup, kind of how it is in Detroit, how it was in Living Single, or the Cosby Show, or any New York Undercover, any of that kind of makeup, because that's just not that's not Detroit for sure. But yeah, but again, like I say, the show was great. I don't take nothing away from the show, but I did think about that one day, and I just thought, I wonder how many other people even think about that, or how do Detroit people really feel. So if you are from Detroit, please feel free to comment, because I would love to know, what you think, and what you thought about the video, the show, the basically the topic of, did the show, represent Detroit? Did it not? Do you know somebody that lived in a, in a, not so much a high rise, but that kind of brick high rise kind of look? Did you know anybody that you grew up with that kind of lived in that kind of makeup? But yeah, man, I'm gonna continue to do this thing, push out videos. I just want people to support, and just ride with me on this journey. And again, this is Sip, and we'll see you next time.